There are 11 Japanese hair rules that Americans break every single day, and they are the reason your scalp smells by the middle of the afternoon and you have never once figured out why. Most people break at least 4 of these without knowing they exist. The Japanese approach to hair is built around one fact that almost nobody in the West has ever been told. Your scalp has more oil glands packed into it than almost anywhere else on your body, which means it is not your hair that smells, it is what is living on it. Even if you wash every single day, even twice a day, that alone was never going to fix it. And this video is about why. Every rule we're about to go through goes after that source directly, instead of masking it with a fragrance that sits on top for 20 minutes and then quits. The first 3 rules are about what happens the moment water hits your head. The next 3 are about everything you're doing wrong in the days between washes, when you think nothing is happening at all. After that, 2 rules go straight at the scalp itself, and the last 3 follow your hair somewhere you've never once thought to check, into your sleep. The last rule is the one that explains why you have never smelled any of this yourself, no matter how many times you've checked. Let's start with the order you're doing this in, because it's already wrong before the water even hits your head. The first Japanese hair rule Americans break is about the order you wash your hair in. In a Japanese bathroom, the hair gets shampooed before the body, so that nothing from the scalp runs down and sits on already clean skin. In an American shower, the order is reversed more often than not. Body first, hair last, which means the last thing that happens before you step out is scalp rinse off, running straight down your back and shoulders. That's not a hair problem, that's a sequencing problem, and it explains a symptom you've probably blamed on something else. Your scalp produces more sebum, the natural oil your skin makes, than almost any other area of your body. And when microbes on the scalp feed on that oil, they break it down into fatty acids and other compounds that carry a sour, cheesy smell. Wash body first, and you're rinsing your dirtiest area last, straight onto skin you already scrubbed, so flip it. Hair first, body second, and let the rinse water do its job on skin that's about to get soap anyway. Getting the order right only matters if the thing touching your scalp is actually clean, and that's where the second rule comes in, because for most people, it isn't. The second Japanese hair rule Americans break is about the brush. There's no strict schedule most people follow for cleaning a hairbrush, but hair care specialists are consistent on this. Brushes used daily should be cleaned at least once a week, because they trap shed hair, scalp oil, and product residue. And that combination becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and fungi that then transfer straight back onto your scalp with every stroke. In a Japanese routine, the comb is treated the way a toothbrush is treated, wiped down or rinsed after use, replaced on a schedule, never left to accumulate a visible gray fuzz at the base of the bristles. In an American bathroom, the same brush sits on the counter for months, sometimes over a year, quietly building a coating of everything it's pulled out of your hair. You've probably never once turned it over and looked at the base of the bristles. Do that tonight. That's not dust. So soak it in warm water with a few drops of shampoo for 15 minutes, scrub the base with an old toothbrush, and put a reminder in your phone to do it weekly if you use styling product, every 2 to 3 weeks if you don't. You've fixed the order and the tool, but neither of those matter if what you're drying your hair with is working against you, and it usually is. The third Japanese hair rule Americans break is about heat. In a Japanese routine, hair is dried at low to medium heat, held away from the scalp, and the priority is protecting the scalp barrier, not speed. In an American bathroom, the dryer gets held close, on high, straight at the roots, because it's faster, and speed wins every morning that you're running late. Hair dryers can reach temperatures well above what your scalp's natural oil layer and surface barrier are built to handle at close range, and repeated exposure at high heat and short distance can leave that barrier dry, tight, and irritated, which shows up as flaking and itching that gets blamed on dirty hair instead of an overheated scalp. An irritated barrier isn't a cleaner scalp, it's a compromised one, and a compromised barrier produces more of the flaking and oil that feeds the smell you're trying to dry away in the first place. So hold the dryer at least 6 inches from your scalp, use medium heat instead of high, and finish with a cool blast at the roots specifically, not just the ends. Those first 3 rules were about the 10 minutes you spend actually washing your hair. The next 3 are about everything that happens in the days after, when you've stopped thinking about your scalp entirely and it hasn't stopped producing oil just because you have. The fourth Japanese hair rule Americans break is about what happens between showers. In Japan, laundry is hung outside on the balcony as the cultural default, even in dense cities, because sunlight is a genuine antibacterial, and that same daylight drying instinct extends to hair. Hair mists exist as their own shelf category in Japanese drugstores, specifically to freshen hair between washes without sealing anything in. In an American routine, the fallback between washes is dry shampoo, which is starch layered directly over existing sebum. It doesn't remove oil, it absorbs the surface of it and hides the smell for a few hours, which means every day you skip a wash and reach for dry shampoo instead, you're adding another layer on top of the last one rather than starting clean. Think about what that actually looks like under a microscope. Day 1, dry shampoo goes on over a light coating of natural oil, and it does its job. It soaks up the surface moisture and the scalp looks and smells fine. Day 2, that same starch is still sitting there, now mixed with a fresh layer of oil the scalp produced overnight, and a second dusting of dry shampoo goes directly on top of that mixture rather than on clean skin. By day 3 or 4, you're not freshening a clean scalp anymore. You're adding another coat of powder to a scalp that hasn't actually been cleaned in days, and the smell it's covering is getting stronger underneath, not weaker. If you want to see this, instead of taking my word for it, part your hair at the root on day 3 or 4 of dry shampoo and look, not smell, look at the color of what's actually sitting on the scalp itself. That's not just product. 4 days running on dry shampoo isn't stretching a wash. It's building a stack, one layer at a time, and every layer traps a little more heat and a little more oil against the skin than the one before it. So use a hair mist or a light water-based refresher between washes instead of starch, and treat dry shampoo as a once-in-an-emergency tool for a specific event, not a daily habit that quietly replaces washing altogether. The fifth Japanese hair rule Americans break is about your hat. In a Japanese routine, headwear gets treated the way outerwear does, wiped down or aired out regularly, because anything trapping heat against the scalp for hours is understood to need maintenance. In an American routine, the same cap goes on sweaty at the gym, comes off, and goes right back on the next day, and the one after that, sometimes for months without a single wash. Your scalp produces sweat and oil constantly, and a hat traps both against warm skin for hours, creating exactly the humid, dark environment odor-causing bacteria need to multiply, the same mechanism behind a stinky gym bag, just concentrated 2 inches from your hairline. You can't remember the last time you washed that hat because you never have. Turn the sweatband inside out right now and smell it directly, not the outside of the cap, the band itself. That's not the smell of fabric. So wash it by hand every few wears if you sweat in it regularly. Spray the inside band with a diluted vinegar or alcohol solution between washes and let it fully air dry before it goes back on your head. Dry shampoo stacking and an unwashed hat both do the same thing. They hand a warm, dark, oily environment to something that's already sitting on every scalp waiting for exactly that. The sixth Japanese hair rule Americans break is about a fungus almost nobody's heard of by name. A yeast called Malassezia lives on every scalp, and in small amounts it's harmless, but when it overgrows, it doesn't just cause flaking. It actively oxidizes a natural component of your scalp's oil called squalene into a compound linked to inflammation and that musty, sour scalp smell people associate with dandruff, whether or not visible flakes are present. Regular shampoo cleans the surface, but doesn't necessarily rebalance this microbial population, which is why some people can wash daily and still carry a persistent scalp odor that regular cleaning alone never fully resolves. In a Japanese drugstore, anti-dandruff and scalp balancing shampoos targeting this exact yeast are a mainstream, dedicated category, not a last resort medical aisle. In an American routine, dandruff shampoo gets used for 2 weeks after a flare-up and then abandoned the moment the flakes stop, even though the yeast that caused it is still there. So if your scalp smells sour rather than sweaty, specifically, that's a different problem than dirt, and it calls for a shampoo built to manage Malassezia directly, used consistently, not just during a visible flare. Here's the part that's different from everything else in this video. Your own nose adapts to a smell you're constantly exposed to until it stops registering it at all, which is why you can shower twice a day and still have no idea what your own scalp actually smells like by the afternoon. but the people close to you don't have that same blind spot. Relationship therapists who counsel couples on exactly this topic describe it as one of the hardest conversations partners have, precisely because it's so easy to notice in someone else and so easy to miss in yourself, and their advice is almost always to say something sooner rather than later, gently, because staying quiet doesn't make it less true, it just means you find out later and secondhand. If somebody in your life has ever casually suggested a new shampoo or bought you a hair product you didn't ask for, that might not have been a random gift. 6 rules in, and the pattern should be obvious by now. The Japanese approach isn't washing harder. It's removing the source instead of layering something over it. And there are hundreds more habits like these that Japanese households have used for generations to keep hair and scalp genuinely fresh instead of just fragrant. I've pulled the full set together into a guide, and it's linked in the description if you want the complete routine, not just the highlights. That fungus doesn't just show up because your scalp is dirty, it shows up because of how your scalp is actually being washed and treated, and that's what the next 2 rules go straight at. The 7th Japanese hair rule Americans break is about massage. A Japanese wash routine treats the scalp massage as the actual point of washing, not a courtesy, working the lather in slow circular motions with fingertips, never nails, specifically to boost circulation to the hair follicles and help clear buildup rather than just spreading soap around. An American wash is often a fast scrub with the same motion used to lather a bar of soap on skin over almost as soon as it starts, more focused on rinsing than massaging. A scalp that never gets that circulation boost holds onto surface buildup longer between washes, giving the oxidizing oil and the yeast from Rule 6 more time to work before the next wash interrupts them. So spend a full 60 to 90 seconds actually massaging the scalp with your fingertips every time you shampoo, not just spreading the product. And you're not doing anything extra, you're doing the step that was supposed to be the whole point of washing in the first place. The massage only helps if what comes right after it isn't undoing the work, and for most people, it is. The 8th Japanese hair rule Americans break is about where your conditioner actually goes. In a Japanese wash routine, conditioner is worked through the lengths and ends specifically, and the scalp itself gets nothing but shampoo and a rinse, because the scalp is treated as skin, not hair, and skin doesn't need a hair product sitting on it. In an American shower, conditioner routinely gets scrubbed straight into the roots the same way shampoo does, on the assumption that more product everywhere means cleaner everywhere. Next time you condition, actually watch where your hands go instead of doing it on autopilot, and you'll probably catch yourself starting at the scalp out of habit, the exact same motion you just used for shampoo 2 minutes earlier. Conditioner is built with heavier oils, silicones, and waxes designed to coat the hair shaft, and when that same formula lands on the scalp instead, it doesn't wash out as easily as shampoo does. It sits there, mixes with the sebum and dead skin already on the scalp, and creates a film that can clog follicles and feed the same bacteria and yeast every other rule in this video has been trying to starve. You've had a greasy, the same day you washed it, scalp before, and assumed you just have oily hair. That might not be your hair at all. It might be the conditioner you put where it was never meant to go. So keep conditioner off the scalp entirely, apply it from the mid-lengths down, and if your scalp still feels tight or dry afterward, that's what a separate, lightweight scalp treatment is for, not your regular conditioner pushed higher up. 8 rules in, and every one of them has happened in the shower. The last 3 follow your hair somewhere you've never once thought to check, into the 8 hours after you get out of it. The 9th Japanese hair rule Americans break is about going to bed with wet hair. In a Japanese routine, hair gets dried before bed as a non-negotiable step, not a nice to have, because the bath itself is the last thing you do before sleep, and drying is treated as part of that same ritual, not an optional extra afterward. In an American routine, hair often goes to bed still damp, a late shower, a workout before bed, hair that's basically dry but isn't. A scalp that stays damp for hours creates exactly the warm, moist environment that lets Malassezia, the same yeast from Rule 6, multiply well beyond its normal levels, and dermatologists specifically flag overnight dampness as a trigger for worsening dandruff and scalp irritation. You've woken up with a scalp that feels greasier than it did the night before and blamed your hair type instead of the 6 hours it spent damp against a pillow. So dry hair fully before bed, even if it takes an extra 10 minutes, because that's 10 minutes against an entire night of feeding a yeast that's already sitting on your scalp waiting for the moisture. A damp scalp doesn't just feed the yeast on your head, it feeds what's underneath your head all night long. The 10th Japanese hair rule Americans break is about your pillowcase. In a Japanese household, bedding turnover is frequent and treated as routine hygiene, not an occasional deep clean. In an American bedroom, the same pillowcase can go 2 weeks or longer between washes, and every night it's absorbing facial oil, scalp oil, sweat, and dead skin, which sleep hygiene research shows creates rapid bacterial buildup, especially for anyone who showers in the morning and therefore brings the entire day's oil and sweat straight onto the fabric at night, or anyone whose hair is still damp when their head hits the pillow. That pillowcase then presses back against your scalp for 7 or 8 hours, transferring everything it absorbed the night before right back onto skin you thought you'd already cleaned. You've probably never once smelled your own pillowcase, because by the time you wake up, you're already used to it. So change it at minimum once a week, twice a week if you have an oily scalp or shower in the morning rather than at night. 10 rules in, and the accusation has stacked pretty high. Take your pillowcase off right now and press your face into the bare pillow underneath it. I'll wait. The 11th Japanese hair rule Americans break is about the one layer you've never actually washed. Every rule so far has been about your hair, your scalp, or the pillowcase sitting on top. But the pillow itself, underneath that case, absorbs everything the case doesn't fully block: oil, sweat, dead skin, and in a scalp that runs even slightly damp overnight, fungal spores, and it does this every single night for years without a single wash, because almost nobody in an American household has ever considered a pillow itself, as opposed to the case on it, something that needs cleaning. Research on bedding has found dozens of different fungal species capable of living inside an unwashed pillow, feeding on exactly the moisture and skin cells your scalp sheds while you sleep, which means a clean pillowcase over an unwashed pillow is like a clean shirt over unwashed skin. It looks solved from the outside while the actual source keeps building underneath. That smell you caught when you pressed your face into the bare pillow is not something a fresh pillowcase was ever going to fix, because the case was never where the problem was living. So wash or replace your pillow itself on a real schedule, not just the case, because it's the one layer in this entire routine that was never being addressed at all. Americans grew up assuming scalp smell is just something certain people deal with and others don't. It's not a fixed condition. It's 11 specific habits, and every one of them is fixable. There's a 2-question test you can run on your current hair routine starting tonight. Am I removing this, or am I just covering it up? And is this thing touching my scalp actually dry right now, or does it just look dry? The easiest one to start with tonight is drying your hair fully before bed. It costs nothing, it takes 10 extra minutes, and you will feel the difference the next morning. Thanks a lot for watching. Check out the video appearing on your screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.